Hello everybody and welcome to another fretboard diagram video by Guitar Union. Today's topic is going to be scales on one string, and um, I think that knowing scales on one string for a lot of reasons is important. I'm going to show how that can be useful to knowing um, other alternate tunings much easier if you're aware of the single string um, notes of a major scale and other scales. So let's take a look here. We have two strings that are part of um, the standard tuning, and of course standard tuning. I'll bring in the other notes here: E, A, D, and then G, B, back to E. So this is standard tuning on guitar: E, A, D, G, B, E. So if I know my major scale in D, for example, which is D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, and D, we see that we have the open to 4th fret, 5th fret, 7th fret, 9th fret, 11th fret, and 12th fret. So if we had any other tuning on guitar and the D stayed the same here, that this part would not change in the alternate tuning. The frets are there, they're fixed. So now let's go ahead and add the A string here. And then, so we've got A, B, these intervals on the same string that stay the same. Drip D, and since D is here, a whole step away, there's E, F sharp, and then G, and then A. So another step into understanding tunings and then alternate tunings is to understand the relationship between string to string. And since this is tuned a fourth away from here, we see that we have a lot of the same frets involved. In fact, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the notes of the 7-note scale involve having its fourth. There's only one that does not, and that's this relationship right here, which is an augmented fourth or a diminished fifth. So when we look at the relationship between note to note, that can help us when we're looking at when alternate tuning. So it's very important that when you study an alternate tuning that you understand what the intervals tuned are, because then those remain the same on the same fret. So the tuning that we'll go ahead and look at now is called DADGAD. Personally, I don't use a lot of alternate tunings, but I find them very interesting, and I do sometimes. I just don't like messing with the tuning of the guitar, and ultimately, if I had the ability to care for a whole bunch of guitars, I would probably have one that was set up specifically for tunings, in all sorts of tunings, just so that when I felt like playing that. But personally, I don't like messing with the tuning. I think there's some issues with it and how it affects the standard tuning. But anyhow, it's a lot of fun to look at, and I do play with it sometimes. So this tuning, DADGAD, when you look at it together, is a suspended chord. It's a D sus4, a D sus4 chord, or you could call it a G sus2, because GAD is sus2, but it's based in D, so it's mostly a D chord. So this tuning is kind of easy because we have 3 notes that are D. So what does that mean? That means that everything that is on these strings here. Just like when we have the standard open E tuning, everything here is simply going to be duplicated over here. Now, just because we're in DADGAD doesn't mean you have to play in D major, but this is the example here. So now we see we have 3 strings that are going like this, and then because our A string is the root of the 5, and it shares all these intervals besides this one. So so far we have all of this, a lot of stuff all together. So now let's take a look at G. G is the 4th of D, and you know, so if we were to start on the 4th, we see 4, 5, 6. We see that the 7 is not in line, but then there's the 1. But let's just count the notes as we see them here. So G, A, B, and then we go to our C sharp, and then our D, then E, F sharp, and G. So we see once again with the D to the G. This is just these 3 notes are standard tuning: E, A, D, G. So that's not a change. It's just this note gets dropped from B down to A, and these 2 notes get dropped down from E to D. So 3 different notes get tuned down a whole step. So then on this string we can just copy everything right here. And move it over. And so now we see we have all the open strings, all the 2nd fret, all the 4th fret, all of the 7th fret, most of the 5th fret, all of the 9th fret. So that's an indication that you see this is tuned to, like I said, a suspended chord. That means that in the key of D, or any major key, the 2 also has a suspended 4, that the 3 also has a suspended 4, the 5 has a suspended 4, the 6 has a suspended 4. So there's a lot of those in there. In fact, you know, the only notes that aren't are this. So when we take away those, this is what the tuning looks like. Like I said, this is kind of an easy one because of the replication of, there's 3 Ds, 2 As, and a G, so there's really only 3 different notes. So some other tunings might be a little more difficult to understand, but the point is we want to understand the intervals between the open strings because that'll help us understand them here. And we also want to take a look at what is unchanged from standard tuning. So back to the whole scale, we have this right here. And so that's it for now. I encourage you to learn your strings, your scales on a single string, and not just from the open, but from other frets as well. But with the open strings, that helps us kind of key in on certain tunings and such. So we'll do some breakdowns of some other tunings and some further things. Please ask questions, leave me your comments, and I look forward to responding to those and seeing you at the next video. Thank you.